Soccer is underway for indigent Nigerians as the federal government has announced that it will distribute the 42,000 metric tons of grains approved by President Bola Tinubu to poor Nigerians at no cost. It also announced that the Department of State Services, DSS, and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, have been engaged in the distribution process to ensure that the commodities get to the targeted citizens nationwide. The distribution of grains such as rice, maize, millets, gari, amongst others, is set to begin anytime from now in several states across the country. This initiative is coming at a critical time when many Nigerians are struggling to afford basic necessities due to the economic challenges. Hence, the government's commitment to ensure that no Nigerian goes hungry. Now, President Tinubu also met with state governors and he gave some directives. He said he directed the security agencies to check the activities of food hoarding across the country. Well, the federal government is also considering the possibility of creating state police, as well as to invest more in agriculture to discourage food importation. Well, we'll take a listen to what the minister had to say earlier today.
Have been directed to coordinate with the state governors to look at the issue of those holding commodities. At this point that the nation requires food to be brought out to the people so that we can control prices and put food on the table of most Nigerians. Other commodity traders are busy holding these commodities so that Nigerians will suffer or they will make more money as a result. So the governors and Mr. President have taken this decision that security agencies will cooperate or collaborate with the state governors to ensure that this ends.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am Eukaria Clinton. Thanks for joining us. Now, joining in the studio to discuss the issue, of federal government's effort at addressing, high costs of food is Mr. Taiwo Olawale. He's a business development manager, Women Farmers Advancement Network, WOFAN. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me.
Also with me in the studio is Omolara Abati Svensson. She's the National Coordinator, Nigerian Women for Agricultural Progress, NWAP. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
It's good to have a woman today. No, I'll start, they say ladies first. So I'll start with the lady. Now, you've had the directive that was given by the president, distribution and also to check the hoarding of food across the country. What's your take on these directives?
Well, it's a good directive. It's one of the right decisions to take. Mm-hmm. But what I worry about, like with every other thing that has to do with agriculture in Nigeria, is the implementation. I say it all the time. We have one of the best policies on paper in Nigeria. These are presidential directive, which are it's in a good way. It is strong. It's a good idea. It's the right way to go. But my worry is the implementation of these directives, so it gets to the right people, to ordinary Nigerians, so that the impact can be felt nationwide as it should be.
Okay, now, Mr. Taiwo, we are already in late. Fasting is here. And of course, very soon Ramadan will come. And time is of essence. So how do you think these, distribution of food should be done? How soon do you think it should be done so that we'll not start having people agitating for it?
Thank you very much. I think going by what we have on ground, distribution should happen yesterday. People should have access to it. Releasing grains from the reserve is just one solution, and it's a kind of rapid gun kind of solution. It has to be quick. It is supposed to help bring down prices while also reaching the seriously underserved. So it should happen immediately.
Okay. Now, back to you, Omolara. You talked about implementation. What do you think, what measures do you think should be in place to ensure efficiency, transparency, and accountability in the distribution of these grains?
Okay, so the agencies that are involved, I would advise and suggest they focus on the grassroots, the rural area, your ordinary Nigerians in court. And by so doing, I mean, these things are not rocket science. We see when it happens that an individual decides to reach out to give out food, we see how it actually gets to that lay person on the street. This is the approach I expect these agencies to use. Not to say, oh, go to the director of so in your state, and then it goes from there to your local government. Take this relief food items directly to the people. You know, take it directly to the people, down to the word. Do not, there is no time, like Mr. Taiwo said, for us to start saying, oh, we've released, because I just hope I'm wrong this time. I don't want to watch in the news 2-3 weeks from today and say, oh, we released so to the state, and the state is taking it to the local government. Local government is going to the world. At the end of the day, it becomes another story that touches the heart.
But we need the local government, we need the state government.
Bring them all together
okay,
at the same point, at the same day. You are the state coordinator. You are the, bring your local government coordinator, bring your ward coordinator. Oh yeah, ngwanu now. Take, put in truck, take to the, we have streets. When we want to do election, they do door to door, don't they? So let them take this food door to door, market to market. Say, for instance, you want to service Lekki Phase 1. Have locations at Admiralty. Come to NTA, put it out there. At Admiralty, we're giving each household this, or people that are registered in your local government. They have all the details. They have the way they can do it. But the point I'm trying to make is, this is not when we bring in bottlenecks and bureaucracy like we have been doing. Oh, the food is in a storage at the state level. From the state level, it will go from another storage at the state level to the local government level. No, this is the time that we act. Ants on deck, the way ants is always on deck during election, and then every zones and wards gets their materials and their voting whatever like a day before the election. That is the approach we need to use now. That's just what I'm saying.
Okay. Now Mr. Taiwo, what step do you think should be taken? Because now it's been clearly stated that indigent Nigerians will be given special attention, and of course they're getting these grains for free, okay, which is a good thing. Okay, it's much like I said earlier, it's a succor that's come to them. So what step do you think that should be taken to ensure that these things get to the targeted people, to these indigent, and not diverted?
So, thank you. I think we have a good starting point, because the minister said NEMA will provide an index which suggests that we will have a list of potential participants in this scheme. And I also noticed that the DSS is involved. I'm sure that is to help reduce leakages, to help reduce frauds in case we're supposed to have that. But what I would suggest most importantly is, it is not enough to just work with state governments and local governments. We need to include gatekeepers at community level. We need to involve, for instance, traditional and religious leaders. We need to be able to involve even non-governmental organizations that can support processes and ensure that they are seamless. We need to have a system that will be transparent and auditable. You know, just like she said, it's easy to turn it to a political thing and begin to reach out to people who are privileged. This is supposed to go to indigent Nigerians. I expect the list from NEMA to help. I'm sure we're still working on a social register kind of, but NEMA should have people to reach, which means NEMA would also be working with state emergency management agencies, and then down to the local government. But we need to involve people on the ground, not just work with lists. We should be able to have people to verify those participants that will benefit from what will go out. That way, we can be sure that it will get to the right people.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Amalara, back to you. What role should non-governmental, you just mentioned non-governmental organizations, what role should they play in this time? Because government is doing its bit to ensure that they alleviate the pains, they kind of try to help out in this situation, provide succor to the citizens. What role should non-governmental organizations play in this situation?
Well, like I say, when it comes to women in agric, we know ourselves. We're all Nigerians, we know ourselves. So, like Mr. Taiwo rightfully says, say they want to service Ojodu today. They want to give food to people in Ojodu. We have landlord association. We have vigilante association. Landlord association has the list of all the residents in their area. We have estate association. Okay, this estate, how many people are living here? We are 500 families. Whichever agency it is that is in charge knows what they're giving per family. Okay, put out the general notice. Grains of 10 kg for 500 families has been given to Bethel Estate because in their record they have 500 families. Give Bethel Estate 500, 10 by 500 kg. Grassroots arrangements. That way, all Nigerians, we all have rights to food. All Nigerians get this food, not the middlemen, not the intermediaries that would want to use that to even make life more difficult by reselling these grains to Nigerians.
But you just mentioned they're going to probably maybe an estate or going to landlords of the...
I was just giving
I
was just giving an instance.
But we are talking about the indigent. And you won't say all Nigerians are indigent. There are some that can provide, for their families and even for a community. Okay.
Well, this is why it is important that they choose like I said, what's the agency called again? They know this, they know the areas where you have the, I don't want to use the word less privilege, where you have the Nigerians, the indigenous Nigerians that actually really need this food. Those are the places that they should start with. Of course, they shouldn't start from Parkview Estate, for instance. If you're starting, that's why I said Ojodu, I said beggar. Even as middle class or low class as these areas are, believe me, they have associations, they have registered residents. We know ourselves. If we farmers on the farm can know ourselves and know our farms, let alone people that lives in all of these cities. So I believe, like Mr. Taiwo said, these are the people to work with. And believe me, the area or estate chairman in a place like Yaba or Ojodu or Bega or wherever have you, Isheri.
Or like Lugbe now.
Or Lugbe. Okay, because I keep talking Lagos, I'm sorry. Or Lugbe, would not want to take the grains that government has given him to give to his residents and sit on it. Especially the way all of us are crying at the moment. The tension is high. There is hunger in the land. So this is the best way to get this food. Lugbe Karu, thank you. Nyanya. So you go to all of this estate in Nyanya, they give you food to give to the people on your street, and you want to sit on it. You and I know that that is not going to happen. But if we start doing, it's with the state, it's with FCT, it's with this, it would end up as same old story.
Okay, Elliot, okay, you have something to say.
Add to that.
Okay.
Actually, I believe that when you take it to the community, it works better. She's giving example of estate association and so on, but I know she means communities. In the early 2000s, NAPEP, that's Poverty Alleviation Program, started a conditional cash transfer system. And one of the selection methods was to ask community people themselves to identify the most poor people in the community. I mean, we are in a community where everybody seems to be poor, but please identify the most poor. And it worked well because they were selected by people who knew them. So if you work with community leaders and NGOs, like I suggested, it will be easy to identify poor and ultra poor people who should be the ones benefiting. Remember, it is not that there is no food in the markets. It is because purchasing power has been reduced by inflation. And So more and more people are unable to afford what is on sale. So this grains reserve is not supposed to go around everybody. It is supposed to go to the most vulnerable, help bring down the prices, because when grains are available, those hoarding will be discouraged and they will need to bring out. So hopefully it will reduce prices, and even those who can afford it can get it at better prices.
I was about asking you what the role of the community leaders would do, but you just answered it in one go. Now, talking about the directive, what the president or the federal government is doing to make sure that we improve agricultural strength, So, Omolara, in what areas do you think attention should be paid if we are to, improve agriculture, just, ensure agricultural development and ensure food security?
Work with women farmers directly.
Really?
I say it all the time.
Only women farmers?
Yes. Work with women farmers.
All of the male farmers?
We have been working alongside with them all of these years. Look where we are. The women farmers has been, what's the English word? Undermined for too long. That's the truth. Forget what we read in the papers and what we read in the news. Work directly with the grassroots women farmers. They are the ones farming what we consume. That is the truth. And whichever way you look at it, I had an interview, someone was saying, no, I said women force is 80% in some area. It's not true, it's 60%. Ejo, kile fanu eje, 60%, 80%. The truth remains.
Translate that one.
What's the difference? Anyways,
Okay.
Between 60 and 70%. The truth and the fact remains that women are the ones doing this job. And they're the ones that are not getting the right support, enough support, if at all they're getting any support. So I can give you an example. Take input and give directly to our women farmers, any part of this country. Make sure it gets to as many women farmers as possible, and see if by the end of this season that we're about to start, if the story would not change for good. That is one of the main solution I can see, and I'm sure thousands of hundreds of women that are going to be watching this program would say to you that support the women farmers. Now, when I say the women farmers, I don't mean the ones that sit in their ACs and only just, I don't want to use words that is not, that are not the real grassroots farmers. I'm talking the women that actually owns farms, that goes to the farms, that what they do for the source of living is farming, food processing, packaging, and trading. These are the women we need to focus on, especially the staple foods.
Oh, Omolara, I will come back to you on the kind of support you want to be given, So, Taiwo, do you totally agree with the fact that just women farmers? Because I asked just women, she said yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
yeah,
because you also have some big male farmers.
No, I've actually been working with women now for about 15 years. The organization is Women Farmers Advancement Network. Most people ask me, so why is there a man there? I tell them you can't spell woman.
E for sheep.
But yeah, women farmers need support and all that. But all farmers actually need support.
Good.
In Nigeria, especially smallholder farmers. And we are still grappling with low production, not because the support is not coming, but I think focus has not been on a particularly important area, which is provision of extension services. Now, for instance, the federal government's plan is to support 300,000 farmers in the next farming season to cultivate, we have over 70 million hectares of arable land in this country. Much less than half of that is put to production. That's a big problem. Maybe that has to do with mechanization and so on. But for smallholder farmers, even when you give them inputs, they need capacity, technical know-how to produce properly. Okay, so you give a rice farmer 4 bags of NPK, 2 bags of urea, you give him improved seeds, you give him chemicals. Without capacity building and technical support, you might end up producing maybe 3 tons, where it could get up to 8 tons. So extension service is essential In fact, presently, there are some stakeholders that are working on legislating extension service, because in Nigeria, most states don't pay attention to it. So when they do agricultural program, it's like a bank giving you a loan without a follow-up. So you spend the money, you can't return it. It's half your fault, it's half the bank's fault. So the federal government provides support to farmers, subsidizes fertilizer, provides input seeds free of charge. All farmers go on their own and begin to farm as they knew it from the word go. What do they get at the end of the day? You give somebody, we always talk about not giving people fish, teaching them how to fish. We're giving them fish all the time. How do they continue? So we give them everything, but when they go, they do it to their capacity and they bring low production back. But when you have extension services, an extension worker will first of all show them how to use what they were given. The extension worker will follow up with technical advice, whether the farmer seeks or not. You visit the farm regularly. You see a diseased plant. And these days, ICT is helping a lot. There are apps. You just take a picture of the plant. It tells you what is wrong with it and suggests what you do. But somebody who knows how to do it needs to work with the farmers. So I think we need to pay attention to extension services in addition to everything we're doing. Yes, I agree with that, 50% women, but also men, especially young farmers.
Okay, thank you. So, earlier on, I talked about it. You talked about support, supporting these farmers, for us to ensure food security. So, what kind of support do you think they need?
I mentioned the first one, but I'll start with something that is said. So, I can tell you for free that there has been loads and loads and loads of training, what he calls the extension support or system for our farmers. But two things have been wrong with this training and support they do. Most of it are not done properly, and almost all of these trainings are done in foreign languages. You know, we have put it to test because the farmers we're talking about are not farmers that owns Android phone. Even their touchlight phone, most of them is being operated by their children or their husbands. So we need to really, we have to take an holistic approach at this. First of all, this support, we have to be sure, and support has not been given to women farmers, maybe 2% out of 100, and that is where they get what is said now, that they don't produce, they get 2 tons instead of 10 and all of that. But so I'm not even going to go into that. The support that we're talking about, make available farm inputs. Train these farmers in the language that they understand. We did it in Southwest. We did training before in English. Then we did training in the same set of people in Yoruba, and they were like, but they've attended this same training before. Nothing was changed, But you could see that the level of understanding, they were able to follow up with what the guy training them was saying. So when we say support, we mean provide the right kind of training, provide inputs, NPK, whatnot, urea, whatever, agrochemicals, the seedlings and all of that. Yes, let it get to the grassroots farmers and then teach them the right way on how to maximize all of this inputs so that their output would be what it's supposed to be.
And of course, improve their technology. So
Yes.
Anyway, I really wish we could talk more on this because since a woman is involved, I'm really getting really interested in this. Well, with that, we wrap it up on Nigeria today. I want to appreciate our guest, Omolara Svensson, is the National Coordinator, Nigerian Women for Agricultural Progress, NWAP. Thank you so much for coming on the program. And also Mr. Taiwo Olawale, the Business Development Manager with the Women Farmers Advancement Network, WAFAN. Thank you so much for your contribution. And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am your carrier, Clinton, saying bye for now.